For so many years, my freedom was taken from me by Christianity. The freedom to be myself, the freedom to love, the freedom to use my voice. Now I am taking back my freedom and using my voice. Welcome to Thoughts by Seth. I am Seth and this is my voice. This is the first episode and I'd love to start off with a little bit about myself. I'm a transgender man, and as you can hear, my voice sounds a little bit weird. You are not allowed to call me a chicken or a balloon. Only I can call myself that, and I most definitely sound like a chicken right now. I am transitioning. I started transitioning back in October 2023 last year, and I'm super excited with my journey. It's definitely been a long journey. Just recent couple of months, my voice dropped, and so I am getting used to my voice. Sometimes I'm like, I don't like my voice. I'm also autistic. One of my special interests is dogs. I love dogs so much. I have so much compassion for them. I can tell you a lot of facts about dogs, but this episode is not about facts of dogs. But yeah, let me paint you a little bit of a picture before I get into the topic of today's episode. I've had a difficult life experiencing rejection, abuse, and abandonment. As somebody who was adopted, I've been rejected by both my biological and adoptive families for reasons I prefer not to share. Like, I have to be honest, that is just like for me fucked up. And I'm gonna use the F word. Um, it is hard to this day that I have no family. I'm adopted, and both families have rejected me. And it's definitely been such a lonely journey. And thank the universe for animals and nature because that keeps me going. Another special interest of mine. um, I've been through many painful experiences and have struggled with my mental health. I live with a mental I live with a mental illness, not a mental health. I live with a mental illness. Um, and many shy away from that term, mental illness, but it's a mental illness. I have depression, I have PTSD, and both are a mental illness. And we need to have more open conversations about those, and more open conversations about mental illness. On social media, we always see mental health, mental health, mental health. Oh no, it's a mental illness. Um, Before becoming a Christian, I was broken, and joining the Christian community only deepened that sense of brokenness. It really wounded me, and it really broke me up to the point that, yeah, I was unable to recover. It took quite a bit. So, before I continue, I would like to share a little bit more about my journey as a transgender man. For as long as I can remember, I've always seen myself as a boy. Growing up, I identify as a boy. So most people would consider me as a tomboy, but I always identify as a boy. I remember one of my favorite things was climbing up trees and just sitting there and admiring all the birds and then looking below me. And we had quite a bit of cats, so always seeing the cats below me. But yeah, I always identify as a boy. So when I entered the Christian community, I entered it as a tomboyish female lesbian, aka gay. When I say aka gay, a lot of people, I don't know, there seems to be this kind of like stigma someone saying lesbian, and I don't know why, for me, I'm queer. I can relate to being queer. Sometimes I like to say gay. I feel that gay is less stigmatized, um, in some areas at least. So I came to Christianity in 2013 and actually became deeply religious. At that time, I didn't accept the term transgender and was even actually against it. And I think a lot of that hate um, came from religion. And just knowing deep down, I knew that I'm trans, but in religion and Christianity, we are taught that, hey, God hates us, hey, God calls us abomination. I even struggled to accept loving women. I couldn't even accept that part of me. And that was such a hard time. And religion in many ways taught me to hate myself, molded this hate within me. And yeah, so let's fast forward to 2019 when I began questioning who I truly was and started to embrace myself more. I had always questioned my identity, but this year marked the beginning of my journey towards self acceptance. Throughout my life, I battled with suicide thoughts, being in and out of hospitals, and even turned to self harm. It became even harder as I started questioning my identity because, according to what Christians told me, God hated transgender and gay people. To them, I was an abomination. We all know those 6 scriptures that are always thrown at us. Oh man, how much I hate the Bible now. um, in 2019, I started attending a church, and we'll call this church Church A. It's important to mention that I had been to so many other churches before this one, facing a lot of rejection, a lot of pain. But for this part of my story, I'll focus on my experience with Church A. I quickly learned the hard way that Church A would never truly accept me. They did everything, literally everything in their power, to try and change me, to mold me into their beliefs. When I first arrived at Church A, I was already broken, alone, and deeply wounded. Had I stayed there, I believe, and a psychologist actually confirmed that later on, that I most likely would have taken my life. Um, and I just really want to say, I would have taken my life. The word isn't even most likely. I would have taken my life. There was too much emotional abuse and control at Church A, all led by a pastor who I believe was actually a narcissist. In fact, a little bit of a hot topic, but I truly believe that many churches are run by narcissists, but that's another topic for another day. Um, as an autistic person, they really hated that part of me as well. I struggled to socialize and make physical contact, like hugging. And as we all know, anybody who's been to a church setting, oh, let's give each other hugs, oh, go, hello, hi, haven't seen you for so long, or hey, welcome, hello, I'm autistic, I don't like hugs, okay? When I actually refused to hug people, I got into a lot of trouble. If I chose to focus on tasks instead of socializing, people would accuse me of isolating. Tasks would include, packing up chairs and folding up blankets. Um, and instead of people actually coming to me and doing that task with me, they would boot that. Oh, you have to do things our way, come and socialize, make eye contact, take a cup of coffee and talk to people. Oh wow, autistic me screaming within me. Even sharing this right now. Um, if I chose to focus on tasks instead of socializing, people would accuse me of isolating, as I shared. When in reality, I was just being myself. I was just autistic. The leaders were against that. The leaders were also against me liking women. I was actually once sat down, and just a little bit of context. In every church, there are pastors, and pastors mentor people, right? So, and for mentoring me, this pastor set a bunch of terms and conditions, and one of the terms and conditions was that I couldn't like women anymore. And if I couldn't do that, then he wouldn't mentor me anymore. Basically, those was one of the terms and conditions. I wouldn't even name the rest. Those are almost horrifying. This church, like so many others, was full of rules and terms and conditions that made me feel more isolated. I was so alone in that church, and I tried so hard to, like, I don't know, I just wanted them to love me. I just wanted them to accept me for me. And I thought in my mind, staying there, maybe sometime they would change. But as I shared, they would have never changed, and they haven't. Um, I began to accept myself more when I met somebody at this church, actually. Somehow, without even knowing it, she brought me to a place of peace where I could start to love and accept myself. Whenever I was around her, I felt whole, I felt safe, and for the first time, I allowed myself to be truly who I was. And that actually led me to falling in love with her. Um, which changed my life completely, because most of my life, at least as a Christian, when I became a Christian, before that, I actually accepted, liking women. But when I became a Christian, I hated that part of me. Um, when this person left the church, I actually told her that I loved her, and not once did she rebuke me or judge me. And at that moment, it became a turning point in my life. It inspired me to dive deeper into research and reflection on who I truly might be. And just a little bit of context with that, most of my life as a Christian, when I told somebody, hey, I like this person, or anything, I couldn't even tell a woman, hey, you look pretty, because it would be frowned upon in the Christian community. And I was always fearful of that. In the past, I had told somebody I liked them, and well, that didn't go so well. This person was also a Christian, and yeah, I had such quite a bad experience with that. And so when this person in church A, didn't rebuke me, didn't judge me, it really just, I just felt heard. I felt listened to. I knew that I was doing the right thing by telling her I loved her, because not only did it help me, it brought healing to all of the hurt I had experienced in the past. Um, Church A continued to hurt me in many ways. I began to do research on the abuse I was facing at Church A, and actually came across a podcast called Bodies Behind the Bars, and realized that what was happening to me was actually happening to so many others. But despite this, I struggled to leave Church A. A lot happened during my time there, but it finally reached the breaking point actually when I accepted that they would never ever truly accept me for me. But this time I had embraced myself as a transgender man and had been working on my self growth. In 2023, actually last year, March, remember it very clearly, I came out as transgender to church day, and they did not like that at all. About 2 weeks later, I was banned from church A. A lot of things happened, but that most likely have led me to being banned. Um, to this day, um, I am thankful for actually being banned because that ban really brought so much freedom. But when I was banned, I actually had a breakdown, which actually led me to the hospital. Um, and according to Church A and many churches, taking medication is not good, and I myself have always been against medication. But when I began taking medication again in the hospital and saw my amazing psychologist, I realized more and more that there was nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with taking medication or seeing a psychologist. Within the Christian community, taking relocation, especially in Church A, it was frowned upon. You had to pray to get healing. You couldn't see a psychologist. You couldn't take medication, and doing those kind of things, or such things actually, would be a weakness. But let me tell you, many Christians believe Jesus should be enough, right? But in reality, Jesus is not enough. And I just want to say that again. Jesus is not enough. Alright? And he never will be. We need help, and we need to come to terms with the truth that no Bible can save us. Only we can save ourselves. Too many Christians love on terms and conditions. Many churches say everyone is welcome, but this isn't the truth. The truth is you are welcome for a season, and then if you don't believe what they believe, then you are kicked out. And this is what's actually happened. I was actually at Church A for about, I think, 4 to 6 years. And when they couldn't get their own way, and when I came out trans, they banned me. And many other churches I've experienced as well. Um, if you don't conform to their beliefs and their rules, not Jesus' rules, their rules as a church, then you are rejected and outcast, and that's not the message of Christ. Um, of all of all the things I have faced at church, one question always came to me, and this question actually came to me from my previous psychologist, and she asked me why didn't I just leave? And I don't believe this question should be asked. Many people stay in abusive environments and are not able to leave for many reasons. For me, I was trapped, and for so many reasons I felt I was unable to leave. Church made me fear. They planted fear in me, and I was always scared to do anything. At one point, I stopped using my voice, unable to blog, post. Um, a lot of the time, I use Twitter, now named X, as a place to encourage people, especially people within the LGBTQIA plus community, and they hated that. Church A hated that, and so I became fearful of posting things, um, which is really a form of spiritual abuse. Um, and fear doesn't come from Christ, and I truly believe Christ was far from them, I don't believe I am able to hear from, um, hear, heal, yeah, heal. Oh my God, my voice is getting tired. Um, for the last couple of months, I've only been able to talk for a certain enough time of period, and then I'm like, ah. This is like the longest. Well, this is not actually the longest. I've spoken longer than this. Um, but I've actually pre-recorded as well, and so it actually adds to it. So don't mind me. Um, so I don't believe I'm able to heal from spiritual abuse. And that's what happened to me in church A. I experienced so much abuse as well as spiritual abuse. And I don't believe that I'm able to heal from that. Today, I am no longer a Christian, and I feel so free from that religious and hated community. I'm free to be myself. I am free to be transgender and autistic, both of which is rebuked by Christians. And it's so difficult because I currently actually live in a very religious community, and my landlords, they refuse to accept me. They call me by my dead name. They, keep saying certain things. One thing they say is there's something wrong with my brain because I'm autistic, and because I'm autistic and because there's something wrong with my brain, then therefore I am trans. And I'm like, what the fuck? You know? And that really bugs me quite a bit that these people who claim to love Christ, who claims to say, hey, Christ lives in me, you know, say, hey, there's something wrong with your brain. No, there's nothing wrong with my brain. I was created by the universe. I'm going to say universe. Um, and I'm autistic. I was born autistic. There are struggles with being autistic because was not, the world isn't, how would I say this in such a manner, healthy manner. The world wasn't created for us, right? For us autistic people, and a lot of the time we need accommodation. Well, all of the time, not a lot of the time, all of the time we need accommodation. We need needs. Certain needs need to be met. Um, and people are not willing to meet those needs. For example, I've recently started using tone indicators, and they are so helpful for me. But certain people online hate tone indicators. Oh, why should we use tone indicators? And it's so hard to like try and explain that. Hey, tone indicators actually helps with communication. For me. Um, but most people are not willing to accommodate autistic people and many other people with disabilities, whether it's visible disabilities or invisible disabilities, and especially within the Christian community. Um, so yeah, I've come to the end of part one of this podcast. And I really just want to thank you for listening to this. I really hope it has encouraged you. Just a little bit of a disclaimer. Most of the things or everything that I've shared is my experience and the way I talk about the Christian community. I'm not saying all Christians are like this. I'm saying a lot of Christians are like this. The people that lead bodies behind bars are amazing Christians. There's a guy a pastor actually. His name is Zach. He's an amazing Christian, and so there are an amazing Christians out there, but then there are not so amazing Christians, actually narcissists out there who actually do more harmful things than the devil, I believe. The devil is actually using them, and so this this kind of abuse you can never ever come from. You cannot, how would I say this? You cannot heal from. Spiritual abuse you cannot heal from. That's my belief. I've gone through a lot of things, and walking out of this Christian community as a whole has set me free. Walking from the church, like there's literally no LGBTQIA churches in my area. I've literally had quite a few sit downs with pastors, and they refuse. They refuse to accept me. According to them, if I come to them, I would have to adapt and change, and mold to how they are, and that's not the message of Christ. I know the Bible quite well. The Bible was actually a special interest of mine, and Christians fucked that up. Um, so yeah, I know that what a lot of Christians are doing is wrong. Um, I don't believe for a second that Jesus would even be in the church building had he come here right now at this moment. Um, but I do actually want to share one more thing before I end off. I actually wrote a poem during this difficult time. Actually quite a while after that. And I thought about sharing it here, but I'm actually going to share it on my social media platforms, so you can have a look at the poem after this actually goes live. And I really hope it encourages you. If you are going through this kind of abuse, I just want to say that you are not alone. And I know that's kind of like a cheesy thing to say, but you're not alone. I mean, when I discovered Bodies Behind the podcast, it really helped me know that I wasn't alone. Yes, they're in a different country, but there was a lot of people who was going through exactly the same thing that I was going through in the church body, and nobody, absolutely nobody, should be going through that, especially in the church body, in the supposedly, how would I say this? Supposedly a God who loves unconditionally. Now, pastors are saying, no, 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 no. God doesn't love you unconditionally. God only loves you on terms and conditions. But that's not the truth. The truth is that God loves you without terms and conditions, according to pastors like Zach. But yeah, thank you so much for joining this episode. I'm gonna end off. Please share this if it's encouraged you. Hit that like button and hit that subscribe button as well, as part 2 will be coming up as well. I think either next week or the following week, depending on a lot of reasons, including my voice. Take care, and I'll see you on the other side.